Welcome to my Tag Time with another episode to tag you. Today I'm going to bring you some heritage and something about what we are forgetting with the time, which we should not, and that's why we have people like my guests to preserve and have that evolutionary process to take that thing with little bit of different tones of modernism and its own original form. Yes, I have with me Mr. Amir Ali Bhai, who is head of performing arts at Aga Khan Museum, and along with him I have the president of Raag-Mala Society, Mr. Mohammad Khaki. Welcome to my show.
Thank you.
Viewers, before we go ahead, I would like to let you know that the Raag-Mala Society was basically, it is run by the volunteer organization, which is formed in 1981 with the mandate to promote Shastriya Sangeet. It basically bring the talent and developing artists by their work into that society. So I would like you guys to give more details about what your work is. So we will start with Mr. Khaki about your Raag-Mala. It's a very old organization.
Yes, it's been around for, this is our 35th year. So in 81, a few volunteers got together and said, we need to bring the best of Shastriya Sangeet, which is sort of North Indian subcontinent. So this encompasses Pakistan and Nepal and Sri Lanka as well to a large extent. But the idea was to bring musicians from that area who are the top of their class to perform in North America. And remember, this was a time that the immigration from the Indian subcontinent was just starting out. So we started out with Magan Ambas now was our founding president. He got a bunch of volunteers together, and our first show was with Hari Prasad Chaurasia, the famous flautist, with Zakir Hussain on tabla, and it was held in a basement of someone's house. So that's how Raag-Mala started. So we've been around for 35 years, and we try to bring the best, the who's who of Indian classical music to Toronto.
So as viewers, I see mala in our traditional culture. It means a necklace which is with the beads joined together. So let's come and see which bead they have with Aga Khan. What is that bead to do with this mala? So how would you explain about that, Amir?
Well, it's a much newer bead, right, in the necklace. And so we've opened in 2014, so very recently. And when Mohammed was just speaking about the first concert of Raag-Mala being in a basement, I think one of the functions that we can fulfill as the Aga Khan Museum is that we have a beautiful auditorium with state-of-the-art technology to present artists in a very respectful way. So here, 35 years later, you know, in terms of this type, the genre of music, we're able to present it at the highest caliber and quality for audiences to enjoy. And all audiences, not just South Asian.
So that is the reason why you came together, I think, for the main thing which was combined was talent, promoting the artist's talent for music and that area of rags and all that.
Yeah, that's one of the things. In terms of the museum, we're looking at cultures from around the world that have been influenced by Muslim cultures and civilizations. So we're looking at the Middle East, we're looking at the Maghreb, North Africa, we're looking at even the Mediterranean, the North Mediterranean, but certainly we're looking at the east coast of Africa, Western Africa, South Asia, Pakistan, Central Asia. So it's a broad, and including, in fact, Spain and China, because those influences historically have spread throughout. And music and the arts is one of the most powerful ways to show those connections between cultures.
So when we talk about our heritage and our Shastriya music, we have diverse backgrounds in that, but our main hub is always India. India is the motherland where it all came from. So how would you like to tell our viewers about
Yeah, I mean, Indian classical music really began from the Vedas. So the hymns of the Vedas were where the authentic original rags started to be developed. But a lot of the modern day classical singing and performance is influenced by the Muslim heritage that came into the Indian subcontinent, and the classical music that is presented now is largely a result of some very key people like Amir Khusro, who was a Muslim Sufi saint, and also a Renaissance man, if you will, who brought the influences from Persia and so on into classical music. So we now, one of the key aspects of Shastriya Sangeet, one of key performance aspects, I should say, is the raga music, rag music. And that rag music, as it is performed today in Khayal and Dhrupad, is affected by the Amir Khusro's influence.
So do you still believe in that there was a time when it was said that Amir Khusro used to sing into the palaces, and he used to change the tone of the weather? So how much do you believe, because you're into that music?
Oh, I personally believe it. I was, there is that, there are legends, and there's, we hear about Tansen singing, and we've seen Baiju Baura, where Mia Tansen is in competition with Baiju, and they actually melt a piece of marble through their singing of Rag Desi. There's a competition. It's a lovely Rag Desi that is in that film Baiju Baura. And that is legendary. And we know that Miyaki Malhars are sung during the rainy season. And so we have ragas that are associated with the rainy seasons. We have ragas that are associated with the nights and so on. So there's clearly evidence that there are rags that are affected, that are played at certain seasons because they represent those seasons. There are rags that are sung during certain moods and times. So for instance, one of our favorite rags we were chatting about is Gujri Tori, and it's sung in the mornings, and it really creates a sense of awakening. And so it might not move mountains, but it'll certainly move you in a way that would actually.
I totally agree with you to that extent, that yes, there are, that's why we, even if we are not that knowledgeable about the music, we always say, oh, I'm not in a mood to listen, it's too loud, So it all depends upon the moods. Yes, music does affect, and latest research says that it helps with depression and patient like that. That means it still is to the point. So let's come to you about the Aga Khan Museum and its activities. So do you sing by yourself also? Are you part of singing artist, or just in the management?
I studied sitar for many years, but I never was able to reach that level that I would consider, that the artists that we are presenting represent. But that studying of the music is something that taught me a great deal about listening to the music and appreciating the music, and it's a very complex tradition. And what's wonderful for me, having had the opportunity to study with a teacher, the music was the opportunity to understand, because I grew up in Canada, to understand a way of understanding music and making music that came from another tradition. And that has influenced my own tastes in music, but it certainly has given me an appreciation for more diverse types of music. And with the Aga Khan Museum, that is ultimately our mission and our mandate, is to look at the diversity and the pluralism and our connections as human beings, because it doesn't matter where in the world we come from. Music is a language that can cross those differences. It's also what shows us what being human means, right? You spoke just now about moods and our emotions and those shaping our thoughts and the way we see the world or listen to the world. And music is one of those powerful forms that human beings have invented and created in many different cultures.
I always say that the first music, if we are close to the nature, we realize that the waterfall has its own music. If wind is blowing through, it has its own music. If you pay attention towards that, it depends how an artist is inspired by the surrounding they are into. So Raag-Mala, come back to the Raag-Mala, because it's a beautiful concept from the very beginning. To entertain your artists, sometime to enhance their work, you have to give them appreciation by bringing the audience to them. So what is your latest upcoming event you're going to give the public to?
Right, so the latest event is the one we are partnering with the Aga Khan Museum on, and that's really very exciting for us, because as Amir Ali says, you know, the kind of artists we bring to Toronto, to Canada, are artists that are very respected. They are really the top form in India, and so you don't want to have them performing in a sort of subpar venues like school halls, and then they can be fined for, you know, school plays and so on, but we want them to be showcased in the best venues. And so as far as Raag-Mala is concerned, the fact that our ambition to bring these great artists dovetails very nicely with the Aga Khan Museum's mandate. We've partnered with them last year. And the other thing is that it allows Raag-Mala to broaden our theme. So we are more thematic when we are working with the Aga Khan Museum. So last year, you know, we highlighted over 2 days rags of Mia Tansen. So Mia Tansen is one of those artists, a legendary artist. You know, we hear that animals stopped to listen to him when he was singing, but until last year, the Tansen rags were never performed together. There are 4 very major rags. One is an evening rag, one's a late night rag, and then we have a morning rag and an afternoon rag. So over 2 days, we had a Mia Ki Dane programs, which was like, you know, blessings from Mia Tansen. And even the artists commented on the fact that they had not attended a pure Tansen festival where all the 4 major rags of Tansen, which is Miyaki Tori, Miyaki Sarang, Miyaki Malhar, and Darbari Kannada, were performed in one event. And so we have a similar thing that is happening this time, and we are planning a program of the Gharanas. So the idea that there are Indian classical music is an oral tradition, and in India particularly, there are various centers where rag music has been developed, and these centers have very distinct characteristics. So we have the Agra Gharana, we have the Kirana Gharana, Patiala Gharana that Bali Ghulam Ali Khan is very famous for, Imdad Khani Gharana on the sitar side. So this partnership that's coming up allows us to bring 4 different Gharanas and presentation by wonderful artists from 4 different Gharanas over 2 days. And
so it is going to be on 2nd and 3rd of April, and I would like to show my viewers that this is the first day when this is going to happen, and this is 2nd of April, Saturday, and it is going to be, the time, can you please tell that, 7 p.m. 7 p.m.
Yes,
it is.
so it's
and the second day is Sunday, and it is going to be 3 p.m. So these are 2 different type of rags. They are different type of rags which plays on different timings. So according to that, they have prepared all this program. Please don't forget to go and watch. It is going to be, I'm pretty sure, a great treat for those who love the classical music. So I would like you now to tell about the details of this.
So as I mentioned, sorry, I went ahead of myself here, but the 4 Gharanas that represented are the Imdad Khani, which is a sitar Gharana, and we have one of the finest presenters of that Gharana. Her name is Anupama Bhagwat. I personally saw her again this time in January at the Dover Lane concert, and Dover Lane is one of the most prestigious concerts that happens in India, and she performed at the concert. It just shows the stature that she has. She studied with Bimalendu Mukherjee, who's the father of Buddhaditya Mukherjee. These are really very renowned names, and they belong to the Gharana that is Vilayat Khan's Gharana, Ustad Vilayat Khan, who was just a legendary maestro. So she'll be leading off the Raag-Mala season, and she'll be the first performer of this music. Second, we have on the same night we have Ustad Wasim Ahmed Khan. He's a senior guru at the Sangeet Research Academy in Kolkata, and he's flying specially for this because he represents the Agra Gharana, and he comes from a family of musicians who were all doyens of the Agra Gharana, and he'll present it in the Agra style of singing. And of course, one of the things we are hoping for is that each of the musicians, when they start their presentation, they'll explain what the nuances of those gharanas are. And then on the second day, I guess the third artist is Pandit Ramesh Mishra. Pandit Ramesh Mishra is a winner of the Sangeet Natak Academy Award, which is the premier artists award presented by the President of India. And he plays the sarangi. He's probably one of the most senior sarangi players. So we're delighted that he can actually be part of that. And he'll be starting off in the afternoon, so he'll be presenting afternoon rags. And then the final performer is Pandit Vinayak Torvi, who is also a very top great artist from India. He's trained under Pandit Bhimsen Joshi of the Kirana Gharana in the Gurukul system. So what this means is that he had direct contact for 20 years with probably one of the most well-known vocalists of India, Bharat Ratna Pandit Bhimsen Joshi. So we are absolutely thrilled that Vinayak ji is going to be actually coming and performing for us. And the timing will be such that it'll be starting to get late afternoon, early evening, so people will get a chance to hear starting from the afternoon rags to early evenings rags. And the previous day it'll be early evening to late evening rags. So variety of rags by different styles of artists.
I'm already excited how it is going to be, but our viewers would like to know little details about is it the tickets and the contacts and all that. How would you like to tell the viewers about that?
So the tickets can be purchased through the Aga Khan Museum on our website. People can purchase tickets online. You can take your chances in trying getting them at the door, but I recommend checking our website and being able to buy them online. And there are other activities as well, other parts of our program that are coming up that are related to these performances as well that your viewership might be really interested in.
Can you please tell our viewers your telephone contact number in case they want to contact beforehand to get the tickets and all the information about the program?
The best place is to go to the website, and it's www.agakhanmuseum.org is the right website, and that would be the best.
www.agakhanmuseum.org.
Yeah.
So please book your tickets beforehand. It is always a good idea because these kind of events are sold out very quick because they have their own quality, which is very outspokenly there. So now would you like to tell our viewers about the committee members you have for your Raag-Mala?
So Raag-Mala is, as I mentioned, a volunteer organization. So we have a board of directors, as we are required to have because we are a registered charity, and we have memberships as well. Very importantly, a team of volunteers. So we're always looking for volunteers. So if people would like to volunteer, please talk to us through our number is on raagmala.ca, and we'll be happy to have them. But we have roughly 150 paid members, some of whom are patron members, and patron membership is a little more expensive, but members get 2 tickets for every show, plus some tax receipt for tax purposes, because we are a registered charity. and we have also benefactor level, which is at a higher level. And this is a group of people who have come together and said, you know, we love this music. We know that we want to hold the ticket prices down, so let's give you a little bit more. And these are people who really believe in Shastriya Sangeet. And so it's thanks to these people, plus our donors, like we have Scotiabank is our corporate sponsor, and the Ontario Arts Council gives us a small grant as well. So that sort of funding allows us to hold the ticket prices down, because the reality is that the Canadian dollar has been going down, and the artist fees are in US dollars, and we're all going through that. You go to a movie, you pay at least $15 these days, and if you have popcorn, you're paying $25 per person. So I think it's a good deal when you have two sets of artists all the way from India who are performing live music. You cannot replace that experience through TV or anything.
No doubt about that. When we are talking about that, the theme of this show is Gharanas. So after that, is there anything else going on?
Yes, so our season starts with our partnership with the Aga Khan Museum, our co-production, and then we'll have Raag-Mala's own programs that are coming up. On May the 8th, we have actually one of our mandates is to promote Canadian artists, Canada-based artists. And so we have Shreyas Ambikar, who's a santoor player. He's a really good santoor player, and he's moved from India. He's a student of Shiv Kumar Sharma, and he's performing with Arshad Ali Khan, who is also a guru from Sangeet Research Academy in Kolkata. He's the nephew of Mashkur Ali Khan. So again, we are bringing two really good artists on May the 8th at the MacLeod Auditorium at the University of Toronto. And then June the 5th, we have Violin and Flute Duet that is coming from India. They are brought by Ramdas Palsule, who is a tabla maestro, and we have his name is Ratish Tagre, is the violinist, and I forget the flute player. I forget his name. He's a very prominent flute player, but it escapes me now. But it's going to once again a duet which we have never had before, and that's the sort of thing that we are trying to do. It's Parveen Godkindi is the flute player. So we're going to have a flute and violin a duet, which is really the first time that we are having at Raag-Mala. And you know, I don't think I've seen it in Canada at all.
No.
Yeah, so that's our, and then in September we'll have another partnership with the Aga Khan Museum where you may want to speak to that concert, the classical concert series. Yes.
I mean, one of the things that we want to do is have a more broad audience space and have people who are not necessarily South Asian enjoy the music that we're bringing. And that happens already, but we'd like to really expand on that. And so there's a major conference happening in Toronto in the fall around classical music. And one of the things we want to do at the museum is to expand the definition of classical music, to include classical music from places like India, from Indonesia, from Mali, from other parts of the world. Because sometimes when we say the word classical music, particularly in the West, people think immediately of Bach and Mozart and Tchaikovsky, and they forget about Mian Tansen and Amir Khusro and some of these other really major figures in world culture.
That's very well said. It's very beautiful. Viewers, please don't forget, 2nd of April, it is Saturday, and it is at 7 p.m. Aga Khan Museum, and 3rd of April, Sunday at 3 p.m. at Aga Khan Museum. It's a great entertainment. It is a great learning experience also at the same time. That I always believe in, that every culture has something very strong about it, and our musical expression is one of them. With these words, I thank you for being my guest today. It was really nice talking to you.
Thank you for having me.
Thank you, Haleema.
Music is the language where we connect people. It has no boundaries. It brings people close because it gives you a very, very soul experience which makes you feel the very initial nature in you. Through nature, we learn the harmony and the balance of voices, which to entertain our mind and our spirit comes in different boundaries of music, which is in fact boundaryless by sharing with each other. Each music get through a evolutionary period, and it has different shades, but original is always there to look upon and to care upon. With these words, thank you for watching us.
#1 multicultural channel. This is Tag TV.